Hi, I am Guernsey Honoré, actor, writer, and columnist with Authority Magazine. And today I have the pleasure of welcoming Marc Saint-Clair, showrunner from Romakill Productions. Marc, would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Guernsey, for having me today, and I'm truly honored. My name is Marc Saint-Clair. I'm here in Boston. I'm a filmmaker, editor, showrunner, and we are here in Massachusetts, and we've been at this for about 5 years now, and it's been a hell of a ride. So we've learned a lot along the way, and there's much more that we are looking forward to do. So our work is specifically around the ethnic market, Caribbean culture, Afro, Caribbean, and African culture. That's where we have our market niche.
But thank you so much for joining us today. Our readers would love to know more about you. Where did you grow up? What is your backstory?
So I grew up in Haiti, and I moved to Miami when I was 13 years of age. And during that time, it was rather interesting because there was a lot of racism going on against Haitians. So it was an interesting time, and I wish we had more time to talk about it, but it will be another story for another day. And after I grew up in Miami, I decided to move to Boston after I graduated college. So I went to the University of Miami. I went to Miami-Dade Community College at first, then University of Miami. I did major in pre-med though.
Wow.
But funny story is that I was supposed to go to medical school and all that good stuff. And when I was at the University of Miami, I went through one of those surgery viewings, and then I realized that I can't see blood. So whenever I see blood, I would pass out. So I decided, okay, you know what? Maybe this is not for me, so...
Just me.
Yeah. So ever since then, my career path changed. I decided to move to Boston, majored in business, and from business, I saw there were some stuff that was going on in Haiti after the earthquake. So following the earthquake, I was like, okay, how can I help Haiti? So I decided to start a company to actually help fund entrepreneurs, and I did. And it didn't go too well. I kind of lost quite a bit of money in that. So,
wow.
So I took on filming because I found out that there are 3 ways to help change a frontier market like Haiti. It's mindset, access to policy, access to capital and human capital, and finally you need good policy. So I decided not to go into policy because that's politics. And my wife says that she'll support me in anything except politics. So politics is out of it. And didn't have much success in funding companies. So the only thing that's left is mindset change. So I got into the arts to actually help change mindset in the Haitian culture.
Wow, thank you. What a journey.
Indeed.
Yeah, wow, okay. Now, can you share with us a funny story that could have happened in the midst of everything that you had to go through to get here today?
Oh, man. I have so many of those, where would I start? Well, I don't have funny, but I'd rather have something interesting along the way. So when I started to make films, I hired someone to do it for me, to film it, because I thought it was very tedious to do all the editing, And then one day he was so busy, he said, you know what, Mark, editing is very easy. And I was like, no, it's not, because I've seen all the screens of all these guys putting this stuff together. And he says, no, truly, it's really easy. So he sat me down, and what he did is that he said, okay, I'm going to take 15 minutes. I'm going to show you what I do. And then from there, you'll be able to see that it's not that hard, So we did that. And I sat next to him. His name is Eddie Jules. He's an amazing guy. And he showed me how he was putting this together, how he moved the storyline, the audio, the L cut, and he showed me what this was. And then after 15 minutes, he actually had a whole part edited, and I was like, wow, this is truly easy. He said, yeah, I told you it's easy. And then it's been story ever since, history ever since. And everything else I just picked up from YouTube University and some other quasi courses online. So yeah. So that's an interesting part of my journey.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate that I actually had people along the way that actually helped me out to convince me that I was good enough to start this process. So, so
Yeah, I love it. YouTube University.
Yeah.
So, who would you say are some of the most interesting people that you have worked with? What was it like? Would you like to share any stories about that?
Sure. I, I've worked with a lot of people that I have not been actors or actresses before. So I kind of like love that in a way because as when I was starting out, it was like a learning phase for me, you know, a discovery process. So we kind of like were learning it along the way together, you know. Although I had a little bit of experience with working with Eddie the years prior, you know, with filming weddings and everything else. I worked with Daphne Jean. She was an amazing writer, you know, and she's been very helpful with my growth, you know. I've met a lot of the actors that I've worked with. You know, as a matter of fact, every single one of them, I don't think I don't think I could ever say there's an actor that I wish I didn't work with. I would love working with every single one of them because you see each one of them, they're unique, you know, in their own ways, you know. This person's funny, this person's serious, you know, and balancing the act in between, you know. I don't have anyone in particular, but you know, I've already mentioned Eddie. He's awesome. I've mentioned Daphne. You know, some of the actors and the actresses that I've learned from as well because of the way they're humble. You know, Jovens, Cindy. You know, Laura, Mo. You know, I've you know many more. You know, you know, James, Quinn, and
Me.
yeah, Grizzly, yep. But,
you forgot I'm right here.
No, there's a lot, like, you know, because I have over 25, you know, UG, you know. There's so many of them that I have to mention every single one of them.
Yes, that will take some time.
Everybody has a unique story and everybody has a unique personality. So
yes.
I would be here talking forever about them. So I'm very grateful I actually had an opportunity to work with each and every single one of them, and I'm grateful that they actually trusted in me to, you know, to do work with because, you know, you have an image to keep, and sometimes you worry about, okay, is this director good? Is this showrunner good? So that's that.
All right, thank you. Now, can you share with us your favorite life lesson quote and tell us how it's relevant to your life?
Sure. There's a quote. There's quite a few, but there's one particular quote I could remember. It says something along the line of, "Nothing is more certain in life than change itself." You know, because you know when starting out, you know, you have a group of people that's always around you, and we're building something together. You know, and then you know, I think. My initial thought process was like, okay, we're gonna all grow together, and eventually, you know, many years down the line, you know, and it just so happened that I realized, hey, you know, everybody have to work on the next version of themselves, you know, with or without me, you know, and this is something that goes along with all actors, actresses, writers, and filmmakers, you know, people have to actually get out of the nest. And they have to be the next version of themselves, you know? And my hope is that they're actually better than me too, because it means that, okay, cool, that I've actually done something good in a way that that help others to actually just be the best version of themselves, you know? So I think you know, it's almost like a parent. You almost feel like, well, your children are leaving, but you know, it has to happen, you know? Yeah. So that's one of the things that I think I learned along this process, you know, that change is inevitable, and that, you know, you must welcome change, and you should not fight change, right? So that's one of the things that I've learned in the process.
Yeah. I love it. Easier said than done, but yes.
It is. It is. Because when you go through the process, when you go through the valley, it's you know, it's challenging, you know, so. And you know, it's one of the things that I actually went through with one of my most recent work, you know, and but hey, you know, I think we have to grow and move on and hope that everybody does well, you know. So
yes.
That's all.
Now, I believe that diversity is very important in the entertainment industry. So, can you share with us three reasons why diversity in film and television is important
Sure.
and
Um,
how it can help our culture?
yeah, certainly. I think diversity is like it gives you the ability to understand your fellow man. You know, when diversity is around, when you have the ability to network and network and work with other people and understanding culture and understanding things like nature, religion, and all that stuff. You know, that enables you to not only be a very respectful person, but at the same time, it makes you a better citizen, you know, a global citizen. Diversity is important for a number of reasons because we have the ability to teach people how to be respectful to other cultures. Because when you see the other culture, sometimes we tend to see them in a different limelight. So as filmmakers, we have the ability to show people, you know, that person that you usually see as the person who makes the Chinese food, for example. There's another facade to their life. They're a mother, they're a son, they're daughters, you know, and they're husbands and wives, you know. So being able to show diversity, depicting diversity, it makes people more empathy. It gives people empathy for their fellow human being, and I think that's important in our culture. And that's important specifically in our work because we have to show people what they don't usually see and take them out of their preconceived notions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's why diversity is important in the filmmaking.
Thank you so much. Yeah, diversity is very important indeed.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the most exciting or interesting projects that you're currently working on?
So yeah, there's a few projects we have on the shelf. There's Consulate we have, and it's gonna be an awesome project. And I can't tell you too much now, you know. There is 60 Days, and then there is Unexpected Roommate, which is what we're currently in the process of filming right now. We're hoping to actually have a grand premiere before the year ends. So you should expect to see that, you know, soon. So, but I can't see much, but it's gonna be exciting, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I can see the excitement on your face.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Now, which aspect of your work would you say makes you the most proud, and can you tell us why?
The majority of the guys that I work with, the actors and the actresses, they've never acted before. So so there are a few that acts. So we have Marie Blaise and we have you that you guys have a history of acting, but all my other actors, they've never acted before. So when I meet new actors or would-be actors, it's very exciting because I get to see who they are and I get to help them shape into becoming who they are right now. Sometimes I see the potential inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I actually could visualize them and see them like in the future and see like what they could do, you know? So what I do, I usually try to push the button and show them that version of themselves that I see, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited. I'm very excited about working with like actors, people who've never acted before, because it is a joy to actually see the transformation that I have in mind or the vision that I have in mind coming to life as they act. And sometimes some people do have the ability to actually reach that potential, but others, sometimes it takes them a little bit longer. But eventually everybody have a different roadway to success, you know? So, but that's what I would say is my most exciting part of what I do.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we got to our main question of this interview.
Yeah.
What are 5 things that you wish somebody told you when you first started filmmaking?
Oh man, I have 55 of them.
We only have time for 5.
All right. So 5. So one of the first thing that I've learned is that lighting is very, very important in filmmaking. Lighting is super duper important because when I started out, it's always about, you know, the camera, the lens, you know. But knowing what I know now, I just came to find out that lighting is probably number 1, you know. So number 2 audio. So audio is super, super duper important because you can have the best image, and sometimes people, if you have the very terrible audio, people will not want to follow through with your story. You won't feel as part of the journey, you know. So audio is super duper important. So I wish at the very beginning somebody actually highlighted that to me, you know. Number 3, there is this illness. So if you're a filmmaker, you might catch it. And I think over 99% of us do catch it. And what that is gear buying. So whenever the next camera drops or the next lens drop, we always feel the need that we need those equipments to make our work better, you know. So and you know, we always get in a perpetual situation of buying equipments, and you know, when you know, and you'd see a lot, like some of the guys or some of the ladies who are in the business, they say, well, my significant other doesn't, you know, let me not let my wife see that I'm buying more gears or what have you, you know. So this is like common. 4, I wish somebody told me to spend as much on my knowledge and schooling myself as much as I spend in gear, because I could tell you, sometimes now looking at my first work, I'm like, oh, I should have put the light here, I should have done this, and I should have done that, you know. And you know, and it's been, you know, now I know them because I have learned them along the way. But you know, if I have spent more money on learning at the very beginning, you know, then that's that. And lastly, acting is very hard. Some people make it easy, but it's very hard. Like I can't do it. I can't act right away.
You sure? Did you try it?
The reason why I say this is because, like, so I've had people that I have coming in because I just needed one person to do just this one scene because I needed a flashback for this particular scenario, right? And then on the first day we were filming, I said, okay, this is the person you're going to be meeting with. This is your ex-girlfriend. You guys have to act as if you guys are an item for over 5 years. So you have someone you've never met before that's going to be in your personal space, and you have to act as if you are the person's lover on a whim, you know. So
it really is.
So it is very hard.
Yeah.
So I wish I had known this before, because it's not until, you know how I found out that it was hard.
Right.
There's a scene we're doing, right, with Marie Blaise and James, right, James Favreau, and you know, they're great actors, by the way. I love those two, right. And Marie Blaise, she was a patient. She was sitting on a table. He was supposed to be checking the cervix, right? And he's supposed to take a swab. That's what I think it was, right?
Yeah, okay.
So she was dressed as if she was a patient. She did have shorts underneath, right? So he had to come in and he had to take the speculum and pretend as if he was putting it in and doing all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And poor guy, you know, he was sweating, right? And he was shaking for a little bit at starting out. So I was like, well, you know, take your time. And after a few takes, he's like, well, Mark, is it possible for you to just show me how you would do it? So this way I know how to work the mechanics. I said, sure, no problem. Step aside, Gurnsley.
Womp, womp, womp.
I was right there, and Marie was like, okay, ready? And I'm here, and I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
And I'm like frozen, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So kudos to James.
It's not.
James, kudos to you. You did awesome, my brother. You know, and that's when I realized, oh my God, it's not easy what they do. So it, you know, that experience with these two, it made me be patient with, you know, I was always patient, but it added another level of patience to what I do when I try to coach them, when I try to do whatever I do, you know. Whenever I'm on a scene, they're not getting it, you know, I don't get frustrated easy. You know, I would say, okay, you know what, let's try this, or let's try that. Or I have different techniques on how to get people to get their minds off, and then it works, you know. So that I've learned that. So it's number 5. I've learned that it's acting is very hard.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, I
It's
think I
not
get 5,
very
right?
easy.
Yeah, I think that's 5. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, kudos to you guys. You know, like people don't say it enough. You know, so, and especially with the guys that I've worked with, knowing now the things that I know now, like I would not want to work with me in my earlier years because I've made a few mistakes and a few errors,
Well, you were fun to work. I enjoyed working with you personally. I can't speak for other people, but
Awesome, thank you.
I have no regrets whatsoever.
Awesome, thank you.
And I'm not just saying because you're here. I said all the time to everybody.
Okay, cool.
You know?
Cool. Well, I'm good to know. Good to know. Good to know. So yeah. So I think those were the things that I wished I had learned and I had known beforehand. But now that I know them, it was I wouldn't say a rough learning, but I'm glad I've learned them myself because I appreciate the hardship of it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the experience, and what I've gained in the process is that I've gained to truly respect my fellow man, and yeah, so that's that.
Now, when you make a film,
Mm-hmm.
which stakeholders would you say have the greatest impact on your artistic vision? Is it your critics, the viewers, the financiers, and can you give us an example of what you mean?
Yeah. So whenever we have a project, so we have a script, and then we have various objectives, and the ending and the lesson learned, and so on and so on. If we have people who are investing or people that are going to put the ads inside the project or their product, so that does influence how we make the product interact with the actors, and sometimes if when most of all of our product are usually on YouTube, so sometimes if we're still filming, we would read the comments to see what people are saying. If they say, well, for example, we liked this character more, so we actually try to film and put more of this character in the process. So our viewers, they do have a chance to influence what we do some of the times,
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, our actors and actresses sometimes, when we go to a script, so I've been in situations where the script says this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just didn't feel natural sometimes. So we kind of like realized that, and the actor would be like, "Man, Mark, this feels a bit dull. Can we freestyle this for a minute?" So I was like, "Go for it," So they would freestyle it, and I was like, "Okay, this is good."
Yeah.
So we do that often sometimes, So our product is being shaped by everybody, So we're not very strict in the sense that we have our script, right? So sometimes I'll say, you know what, I really want this because it would deviate from the personality of the character, because
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that we keep the character's personality intact. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if it's gonna do damage to the personality, to the character, then we don't deviate from that. But we're very flexible in the sense that as we film, we change the story midstream sometimes, and sometimes this person was supposed to get married, doesn't get married anymore, or So depending on how the viewer sees it too. So sometimes, so it's everybody. It
Yes.
shapes our story. So
Okay.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Teamwork.
yes.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, and it's the uncertainty about it too. Sometimes that drives us. Okay,
Mhm.
are people gonna love it? And this is how you end up with innovation. So innovation within that industry, this is the best way to actually have innovation.
You are a person of great influence. So if you could start a movement that would bring the most amount of good to the most amount of people, why do you think it would be? You never know. It could trigger something.
So Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday, actually 7 days a week, when I'm not filming,
Mhm.
I am a real estate broker. So I sell houses during the day,
Mhm.
and I film by night.
Yes.
So one of the biggest challenges we have right now is housing affordability, and it's one of the biggest challenges that currently exists in our time right now.
Mhm.
One of the, I've done a lot of research on this, and one of the reasons why housing is very expensive is because we have more and more investors, banks, buying single-family homes and residential properties, and as a result, what you usually have family members, if they want to rent space to their kids or family members, they just let them stay, or they themselves within their single family underneath their one roof, they could house 2, 3, 4, 5 different people. So now when you convert these into rental units because you're not supposed to bring people in without letting the landlord know. And what happens is that affordability of housing goes up. I think, I'm encouraging anybody who's running for office that they should try to discourage investors, specifically companies like JP Morgan and BlackRock, from buying like tons of properties. For example, there's BlackRock that raised about $1 billion a few years ago, and they bought over 40,000 properties. Now you have to understand these properties will never go back on the market, so that's why you have inventory issues. So last year they raised $2 billion, and then they're gonna buy at least 80,000 properties.
Wow.
We will never see these properties in the market for the next 100 years.
Yes.
2 years from now, it's gonna be 4 billion, and then the year after, it's gonna be 8.
Wow.
So, have you played Monopoly?
I used to.
Okay. So it's getting to that point where they just acquire everything. So I think the solution ought to be is that there are currently 2 different tax codes. One is if you're a homeowner, you pay a lower tax rate on your property tax. If it's commercial property, you pay a different rate. So I started to do some research about this, and I started to talk to some politicians. And what needs to happen is they need to create a third, in my opinion, a third taxing structure. And what those are for investors not living in those properties. So if you're like an investor or a big bank with multiple single family, so the idea is that if you own more than 3 in the U.S., then your tax rate is like 500%. You know, and what that will do is that it will cause all of those people who have more, because I know there's mom and pops who have investment properties. You know, we don't want to, you know, we don't want to harm them. You know, you could even grandfather those that currently have that more than 3. But I think going forward, it does get worse in the sense that too many investors, they charge them into Airbnbs, and when you do that, it's just so many of them that are doing different things with those properties, and as a result of this, you take out inventory, and that's why property prices are going up. So the minute you do this, let's say for example Massachusetts could start this first, right? What we'll see is that you'll probably see over 10,000 properties just dump on the market, and what we'll do is that that'll just like make home prices correct significantly, and the average person who never owned a home, who wish to own a home, will be able to own a home, and their family members who are looking for rentals that are having a hard time would be able to be housed with them, you know. And there are a lot of people, for example, would like to house migrants, but they can't because they live in an apartment, they don't live in a house. So if you're a politician, I encourage you, if you're at the state level, to consider creating a third taxing structure for investors who own more than 3 properties, either in person or through various trusts, you know, and that can be done.
So we are very blessed to have some of the biggest names in entertainment, sports, VC funding, read out column. If there was somebody that you wanted to have either lunch or breakfast with, who would it be and why?
I would love to have lunch with Tyler Perry or Tyler Perry, you know, because I think there is a lot of contents that can be created around different cultures within the Latin American and Caribbean community. You know, the Haitian culture, for example, there's so much to process to there. There's even specifically African culture. You know, so. One of the big things about African film people don't understand is that we watch it because we want to be immersed and have some experience with the culture, to experience the culture, because sometimes we have friends who are from Nigeria, for example, but then we watch this, we see, oh yeah, that's the reason why at work he's always eating fufu with his hands as opposed with the fork, you know, because it's culture, you know. So I think there's a lot of that stuff that could be made for, you know, within the context of Haiti, because Haiti is rich with a lot of culture. So Haiti is probably like the richest, cultural-wise, the richest country in the entire Latin American and Caribbean enclave, you know. So I would like to connect with them and say, hey, you know, give a thought about, you know, doing some stuff about Haiti, you know, or from a Haitian perspective, you know, because people usually see Haiti and Haitians as, you know, the poorest country in the hemisphere, but it's by design, you know, because we don't want to just like stay poor, you know.
Yes.
But there's a lot that could be shown to the world with the other facade. Like we talk about culture, we talk about diversity and stuff like this, right? So yeah, I would love to talk to them about that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Let's make Haiti great again.
yes, yes, definitely. And I think, and you know, that's one of the reasons why I work and I do this effort is to help Haitians see themselves, you know, in a different way, you know, because I think, you know, people perish for lack of vision, you know, and I think sometimes, you know, people could actually overcome greed, overcome corruption by what they see if they are able to see the bigger picture sometimes, you know. So that's what.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah. So how can our readers follow you online and connect with you?
Our company name is Kreyol, and our website is www.womankreyol.com, ROMANKREYOL.com, and we're on YouTube as well. So all of our content is in Kreyol, but the next things they're gonna be in English. So you'll be able to watch it in English and listen to it in English. So that's the commitment we've made because we've been filming and people say, hey, you know.
But they do have subtitles, so
yes.
they could still watch them.
Yes. Yes, and we are on Instagram as well, Woman Kreyol. You could find us there.
Thank you. Marc, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your great insights, just your love for the Haitian community and the work that you do. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
So thank you. Again, thank you so much for watching this interview. I am Guernsey Honoré with Authority Magazine. If you want to read more or watch more of these interviews, you could check out my column. It's medium.com/Guernsey Honoré. medium.com/GUERNSLYEHONORE. Thank you, and until next time.